Stop everything you are doing and listen with the intensity of a man who has decided to never struggle again, because this is not a speech. This is a summons. This is your awakening. The moment when you stop blaming the world, stop waiting for permission, and finally realize the clock will not wait for you. You feel it, don't you? That quiet panic in your chest, that ache of knowing too much time has passed and too little has changed. You look at the clock and you lie to yourself. I'll begin tomorrow. But I say to you now, the clock is not your friend. It is your mirror, and it will not wait for your indecision. This is your wake-up call. Not from the world, but from the deepest part of your spirit that is tired of watching you hesitate. You were not made to drift. You were not born to repeat the same year 10 times and call it life. You were made to move. Now, every second you delay, your potential decays. Every hour you hesitate, your family, your wealth, your destiny remains bound. And the truth is brutal. No one is coming. No mentor, no miracle, no moment of perfect readiness, only you. You say you don't have time? Then stop giving it to things that do not build you. You say you're tired? Then stop wasting energy on distractions and excuses. This message will not repeat itself. If you shut this out now, your life may never change. But if you choose to listen, not casually, but with burning decision, then I promise you, this is the hour that everything begins. The world will not wait for you. But if you act now, it will obey you. Wake up, move, begin. You think you have time? The clock does not care about your dreams. It will tick through your excuses. It will move past your delays. It will walk on while you sit frozen in thought. You are not waiting on anything. The only question is, will you move before it runs out? Most men believe they have time because they mistake the movement of the clock for the movement of their life. They feel hours pass and confuse it with progress. But drifting is not movement. Drifting is decay. And no man ever drifted to greatness. The dreamer lives in thought. The doer breathes fire. One speaks of goals. The other moves while the world sleeps. One fantasizes at night. The other commands the day with plan, with purpose, with decision. Your past can remain your master, or today can become your emancipation. This is your wake-up call. Not from a bell, not from a tragedy, but from the deepest truth within your soul. You've waited long enough. You've drifted through enough cycles. You've broken enough promises to yourself. The next year of your life will be a copy of the last, unless you tear the script and write a new law today. The clock is your mirror. It does not pause for uncertainty. It does not hesitate for fear. It does not delay for the weak. It marches forward, and it only obeys the man who marches with it, in boldness, in clarity, and in persistence. Your family is not safe if you remain indecisive. Your finances are not safe if you remain unsure. Your purpose will perish in delay if you do not answer it now. The danger is not failure. The danger is another year of sleepwalking. You do not need more time. You need command. And time, like all things, bends to the man who acts in faith, not the man who drifts in thought. This speech is not a gift of inspiration. It is not soft encouragement. It is war against delay. It is fire against indecision. It is a sword for the man who has finally had enough of waiting. You will remember this moment if you move, but you will regret it forever if you ignore the sound in your soul right now. Your decision is the turning point. Your next hour is sacred. Your definite chief aim must no longer be an idea. It must become a law. Say it with me now. I move now. The clock will not wait, so neither will I. Each second of hesitation costs me freedom. I obey faith, not fear. I act in purpose, not pause. Now, wake up. Let us begin. The clock has never been your enemy, but it will never be your ally until you move with decision. You say you're waiting for the right moment, but the right moment is not a gust of wind. It is a command you issue to life. Time does not grant permission. It obeys the one who declares. Most men die waiting, waiting for confidence, waiting for clarity, waiting for confirmation, and time gives them none, because time is not the giver. It is the mirror. Indecision is the thief you invited into your own home. You blame the seasons, the economy, the past. But it is not time that has delayed you. It is your lack of decision. A man may live 40 years and not begin living, for life does not start with age. It starts with resolve. It begins the day you look in the mirror and say, "No more drifting. I move now." Time cannot carry you. Time does not serve you. It observes you. It reflects you. It exposes whether your days are governed by fear or by faith. And I tell you this with the deepest conviction, time does not belong to the lazy. Time belongs to the man who makes it bow through clarity of aim and boldness of pursuit. You are not behind because time passed you. You are behind because you paused for the approval of men. You hesitated for fear of what might happen. You drifted in the fog of maybe. But the man who commands results does not wait for agreement. He moves in obedience to his calling. You do not need more years. You do not need another calendar. You need a chief aim so definite, so burning, so immovable that it bends the hours into obedience. You must write it. You must speak it. You must live by it until your life takes on its shape. What is drifting but unconscious delay? What is stalling but the polite cousin of cowardice? What is waiting but the refusal to act in the face of truth? You are not stalled by the world. You are stalled by the absence of a command within. I say to you now, speak that command. Decide the direction. Fix your gaze. You do not rise by fortune. You rise by definiteness. The man who moves with no aim is not moving. He is being moved. And every hour he passes, another man with clarity builds what he postpones. Andrew Carnegie once placed a test before me. A question that would alter the next 20 years of my life. I had 60 seconds to decide whether I would devote myself to a mission without any guarantee of wealth, applause, or reward. I decided in under 20, and that moment birthed an empire of ideas that has touched the lives of millions. Not because of talent, not because of wealth, because of decision. Do not tell me you are unsure. That is a lie you have repeated long enough to believe it. You are not unsure. You are untrained in decision. You have not practiced the muscle of immediacy. You have entertained fear too long. But today that chain must break. Time waits for the man who moves. Time opens its gates to the one who acts. The man who decides becomes a magnet for power, for people, for provision. But the man who hesitates shall be left behind, not by others, but by his own soul. Drifting is not freedom. Drifting is prison without bars. It is a life lived in circles while the clock laughs. You have listened to the whispers of later long enough. You must now become deaf to delay and obedient to decision. Let us build a new rhythm now, one where thought is not just reflection, but initiation. One where hours are not lost to distractions, but invested in dominion. One where you no longer count the days, but command them. Stand now and write your definite chief aim. Let it be your daily commandment. Speak it aloud in the morning when your spirit is strongest. Repeat it before sleep when your subconscious stands ready to receive. Do not be vague. Do not say, "I want to be successful." That is the language of the defeated. Say instead, "I shall build this. I shall become this. I shall do this, and nothing shall stop me." And when you say it with the force of a man whose future depends upon it. Because it does. Because no more time can be given to the man who does not govern what he already has. Let every delay die here. Let every excuse be buried beneath the weight of your new decision. Say this with me now. I am not late. I was indecisive. I now choose. Time is not the problem. My movement is. I do not drift. I decide and move now. This is not rhetoric. This is not encouragement. This is command. If your mind accepts it, your life will rearrange to match it. Time has not abandoned you. It has only been waiting for you to decide. The man who lives by emotion serves time. The man who lives by purpose commands it. You must decide who you shall be, master or slave. Time obeys no feeling. It moves for no fear, but it will bend to the will of the man who dares to be definite. Look at your hours. Do they serve your mission, or do they bleed away in the name of comfort? Do you rise with plan and motion, or do you drift into the day, carried by whatever wind touches your emotion? This is not a small flaw. It is a fatal pattern. The clock is not your enemy. It is your revealer. It does not lie. It does not flatter. It simply reflects the truth of your discipline. You may lie to yourself about your intentions, but your schedule never lies. Your time is your truth. You must now take back your hours, not with ambition, but with order, not with emotion, but with law. The man who does not guard his minutes will never own his future. You cannot build a temple with broken bricks, and you cannot build a life of power with scattered hours. Henry Ford did not become Ford by bursts of inspiration. He became Ford by ordered persistence, by treating time as sacred, by moving even when the world laughed. He did not wonder what to do when he woke. He followed a plan, a rhythm, a command. If you wish to create results like the great men of history, you must study their lives and study their clocks. You will see not laziness, but labor, not scattered hours, but structure, not vague desire, but organized demand. Begin your dominion with one sacred law. Plan the night before. Write what must be done. Wake early while the world is still asleep. Begin before doubt can speak. Move before fear finds its voice. Act before the weakness in you remembers its old excuses. Then, as the hours pass, consult your plan, not your feelings. Let your day be governed by the script you wrote in strength, not the voice you hear in weariness. This is how you build the habit of dominion. What is your time worth? If you sell it cheaply to distraction, the world will reward you with regret. But if you consecrate it to your definite chief aim, all the riches of earth will conspire to meet you. You must say this now and say it with conviction. My time is sacred. My habits are sovereign. I do not serve the clock. I command it. Every hour obeys my definite chief aim. Time destroys the lazy, but it crowns the builder. The man who waits for motivation is not a builder. He is a beggar. But the man who commands his habits, structures his hours, and moves with purpose, this man cannot be stopped. Ask yourself, what would happen if you repeated this discipline for 7 days, for 30, for 90? What empire would be forced to rise around you? It is not more ideas that you need. It is not more opportunities. It is ordered obedience, relentless alignment between what you say you want and what you do in the dark hours when no one is watching. For it is there, in those hours, that success is forged, not in public, but in private, not in noise, but in silence, not in feeling, but in repetition. You will never outgrow the need for discipline. You will never reach a point where you no longer need to guard your time. In fact, the more power you gain, the more ruthless you must become in how you use each hour. You must now walk like the man you wish to become. Speak like him, rise like him, build like him. For every step you take in obedience to purpose is a message sent to time itself. This man cannot be stopped. The clock watches. It waits. It keeps moving. But you can move faster if you move with direction. Let others waste their days in complaint. Let others drown in their emotions. Let others serve the tyranny of comfort, but not you. You were not built for ease. You were not born for drift. You were forged for greatness, and greatness does not beg for time. It commands it. Say this again and let it shape your hours. My time is sacred. My habits are sovereign. I do not serve the clock. I command it. Every hour obeys my definite chief aim. Now rise, plan, move. The clock is watching, but so is your destiny. You do not need to fall to be destroyed. You need only to drift. Drift is the quiet killer, the slow leak of the soul's fire. It takes no explosion to ruin a life, just indecision, Just delay. Just one more morning where you do not rise with purpose. Just one more hour where you move with no direction. Men believe that evil wears horns and comes with fury, but no, evil comes wearing comfort, distraction, endless options. The devil does not need your sin. He only needs your drift, your silence, your softness. And once you let go of definiteness, you are his. A man without a plan is a slave to drift. He may appear free, but he is bound by everything around him, the opinions of others, the urges of his body, the weakness of his habits, and worse, he thinks he has time when in truth, time has him. The dreamer says, "I will act when it feels right." But the doer knows that feelings are liars. That comfort is the enemy. That movement must be made while the fire is faint, or it will never burn again. Drift always begins as delay, then it becomes death. Do you want to see drift? Watch the man who scrolls his life away. Watch the man who changes his goal every season. Watch the man who speaks much and does little. This is not life. This is unconscious suicide, a slow spiritual drowning in the ocean of indecision. You were not born to drift. You were born to dominate, and you will never dominate what you do not direct. You must take your mind back from the chaos. You must fix it on one target, one aim, one demand, and you must not move until that aim bends to you. I say to you now, drifting is not weakness. It is rebellion, rebellion against your own potential. It is a betrayal of the gift that beats in your chest. You were handed breath to build, time to move, purpose to pursue, and when you drift, you spit on it all. You must now become the master of your attention. You must fix your mind like steel. Say this now: I do not wander. I do not scatter. I fix my thought on one purpose, and I pursue it with fire. Controlled attention is the antidote to drift. It is the force by which all power is summoned. Think of the river. It is water like any other. But when channeled, it turns wheels. It powers cities. It shapes the land. So too your mind, when directed, can build empires. When your attention is scattered, you may be busy, but you will never be effective. The man who gives 1,000 things a little energy builds nothing. The man who gives one thing his full energy builds a legacy. Fix your mind. The rest will follow. You must destroy every habit that feeds your drift. You must kill distraction like a pestilence. You must silence the noise, the excess, the unnecessary, and return your life to your definite chief aim. Every hour not tied to that aim is your enemy. You do not drift by accident. You drift by permission. Somewhere you gave up your throne. You stopped commanding your thoughts. You stopped writing your aim. You stopped speaking your destiny aloud. But no more. That era ends here. Say this: I refuse to drift. I fix my mind on one aim and act. I no longer allow time to pass without return. I kill drift with decision and direction. You must become a furnace, focused, hot, controlled. A man who walks into the room and knows why he is there. A man who opens his journal and sees his mission. A man who speaks only what feeds the fire, and who silences anything that waters it down. This is not mere discipline. This is war. And in this war, drift is the enemy. Drift is the whisper that says, you can rest now. Drift is the feeling that says, there's no rush. Drift is the voice that says, you'll begin tomorrow. Kill that voice, or it will kill your future. I am not asking you to move faster. I am asking you to move clearer, to move with such focus that drift becomes impossible. When your mind is set like flint, no current can carry you. When your will is forged in fire, no wind can knock you off course. Consider the thousands who wait for retirement to begin, who wait for children to grow, who wait for the perfect mood, the right weather, the better economy. They wait their entire lives and then die with the pain of unbegun purpose. This is the graveyard of the drifter. But you will not join them. You will rise. You will command your thought, your time, your attention. You will write your aim. You will speak your aim. You will become your aim. And so I ask you now, where is your attention? Where does it go when you rise? Where does it return when you sit in silence? If it drifts, anchor it. If it scatters, bind it. If it forgets, remind it. For your mind is the captain or it is the prisoner. One fixed aim is worth more than 1,000 ideas. One definite direction is more powerful than a library of options. Be narrow, be clear, be ruthless with your focus. This is how you kill drift. This is how you build empires. Repeat this until it echoes in your bones. I refuse to drift. I fix my mind on one aim and act. I no longer allow time to pass without return. I kill drift with decision and direction. Let this part of your life be named the end of drift. Let your actions now make drift ashamed it ever visited you. Let your days now speak the name of purpose with such power that nothing casual can survive around you. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not trying your best. You are either definite or you are not. Decide, commit, execute. Drift dies when decision becomes a daily law. There is a law that moves faster than time itself. It is not found on calendars. It is not governed by clocks. It is not slowed by the fears of men. It is called faith. And when it is born in the soul of a man, he is no longer restrained by appearances. He begins to move by vision. Time obeys faith. The man who waits for proof stays poor. But the man who moves by inner certainty causes the world to yield. Faith is not wishing. Faith is not hoping. Faith is seeing the invisible so clearly that it becomes inevitable. You have been told that time heals, that time brings results, that time will change things. But that is false. Time changes nothing without a man who uses it with faith. You must stop bowing to time and start commanding it with belief. The world will tell you to wait, to be practical, to be realistic. But let me tell you this, no man ever achieved greatness by being realistic. The world you see was built by men who believed in things no one else could see. And because of that belief, they made time serve them. Faith collapses time. Faith makes the impossible bend. Faith does not ask if it is possible. It begins with the assumption that it is already done. And when your subconscious mind receives that belief, it begins to reorganize your entire world to match it. I do not speak of blind belief. I speak of trained belief. Faith that is forged through repetition, through autosuggestion, through the daily command of the Spirit over the senses, through the principle that what you feed the mind with persistence becomes your reality. The subconscious mind obeys emotion. It does not hear casual requests. It responds only to repetition backed by belief. You must speak your aim aloud morning and night. You must feel it as if it is already so. You must walk as if it is already done. This is not fantasy. This is law. The subconscious is the bridge between you and infinite intelligence, and it cannot be tricked. It must be trained. It must be impressed with intensity. It must be filled with your aim until it becomes real. Say it with fire. I believe my future into form. Time is not my limit. Faith is my fuel. I speak my aim. I see it. I act until it appears. When you live by faith, you no longer measure by time. You measure by movement. You move as the man who already possesses the result. And that movement calls forth resources, people, circumstances that cannot be explained by logic. Faith is the only power that creates something from nothing. It is the force that turns thought into gold, vision into empire, word into wealth. Without it, you are a wanderer. With it, you are a creator. Think of Edison. Did he wait for others to believe in the electric light? Number. He believed alone. He believed in a world of darkness, and that belief carried him through thousands of failures until light obeyed. That is how you must walk. You do not need the world to agree. You do not need permission. You do not need evidence. You need only one decision backed by faith. and then you must persist until the world rearranges itself to match your inner conviction. Let this be written in your soul. Time follows belief. The man who walks by faith commands his results. The man who waits for perfect timing remains a servant to fear. You must begin now to build the rhythm of belief. Do not speak doubt. Do not rehearse failure. Do not wait for clarity. You must move before you are ready. You must speak before you see. You must act before you feel qualified. Write your definite chief aim. Repeat it aloud twice per day, with emotion, with clarity, with fire. Feed your subconscious until it becomes undeniable, until doubt has no room to live, until delay has no power over you. Your environment will try to distract you. Your past will try to shame you, but you must return to your belief every single morning. You must make it your law, your ritual, your command. You must say to yourself, I believe, I act, I persist, I receive. This is not magic. This is the structure of all success. It is how Ford built his company, how Lincoln led a nation, how Rockefeller rose from nothing. They believed when there was no reason to, and that belief created the reasons. Faith is faster than fear. Faith builds faster than worry. Faith does not sit, it advances. If you wait until you feel ready, you will never begin. But if you act in faith, readiness will catch up to you. What is your belief? What is your aim? Have you declared it? Have you written it? Have you repeated it so often that your body begins to act in alignment with it before you even think? If not, begin now. Do not delay. Write your aim, speak your aim, see it, walk in it, assume it, become it. For that is the path of all who have ever achieved lasting success. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you believe. Your life is a reflection of your dominant thought. Your circumstances bend to the thoughts you repeat most often. So what are you repeating? You must now take command of your inner speech. You must become ruthless about your inner environment. Every word you speak is planting a seed in the soil of your subconscious. Make sure that soil grows only what serves you. Say now, I no longer repeat doubt. I no longer speak fear. I only affirm what I am building. My belief is stronger than time. My results obey my thoughts. I live by law, not chance. Faith is not loud, but it is constant. It is consistent. It is unshakable. It is the quiet knowing that says, it is mine, even when I cannot see it yet. And here is the greatest secret. Once faith is fully formed, results must obey. It is not a matter of if, but when. The delay is not in time. It is in the strength of belief. Therefore, do not ask, how long will it take? Ask, how deeply do I believe? Do not wait for others to agree. Train your subconscious until it agrees. Do not ask for evidence. Become the evidence. Let your belief walk before your success. Let your words lead your results. Let your spirit lead your body. And let your mind be the master of your fate. You are not bound by your past. You are not delayed by your age. You are not limited by your failures. You are only bound by what you believe and what you are willing to repeat. So repeat truth, repeat power, repeat purpose. Speak what you want and speak it until it obeys. This is the path. This is the law. This is how time becomes your servant instead of your master. Final affirmations for this part. I believe my future into form. Time is not my limit. Faith is my fuel. I speak my aim, I see it, I act until it appears. This hour is not small, it is sacred. For what you do in this single moment echoes into the future of your family, your name, your legacy. You may think you are simply deciding how to spend your morning, but in truth you are writing your history. The world remembers only one kind of man, the man who finished what he started, the man who built when others waited, the man who chose sacrifice when others chose sleep. And you must now decide, will you be that man? Cosmic habit force does not reward your intentions, it rewards your patterns. Whatever you repeat becomes your life. Whatever you rehearse in thought, in action, in belief, this becomes the house your family must live in. You are not just living your life. You are building a template for those who come after you. If you rise late, drift often, quit quickly, your children will too. But if you live in purpose, in daily command, your descendants will walk the path you paved. You think the hours you waste belong to you. They do not. They belong to your lineage. Every moment you spend in fear becomes a legacy of fear. Every hour spent in faith becomes a legacy of freedom. There is no neutral ground. Every thought either builds or breaks. Every habit either lifts or lowers. Every decision either advances or delays the destiny of those who will one day bear your name. You must now act with legacy in mind. Ask yourself, if my son copied my mourning, would he rise in power or stumble in weakness? If my daughter repeated my self-talk, would she speak with confidence or echo the voice of fear? The greatest men do not think in hours. They think in generations. They know that the impact of their actions will outlive their breath. And so they live not just for themselves, but for the 1,000 yet unborn. You cannot pass down wealth if you never learned discipline. You cannot give your children confidence if you never mastered your own doubt. You cannot pass strength unless you live it. The inheritance of the soul is greater than silver. The legacy of discipline is more powerful than gold. And the man who builds his day in purpose builds a dynasty, even if he starts with nothing. There is no future in drifting. There is no peace in comfort. There is no wealth in waiting. But there is greatness in daily, deliberate, disciplined action. That is the only law time will ever obey. Your family is watching you, whether they are born yet or not. They are watching to see if you will rise. They are waiting to see if someone in the bloodline will finally build something that lasts. And I say, let it be you. Let your name become a symbol of greatness. Let your habits become armor for the next generation. Let your faith become a fire that burns in their bones. Let your discipline become a gate through which they walk into freedom. This hour matters more than you know. This moment is not about checking a box or feeling productive. It is about shifting the course of your entire lineage. It is about reclaiming the power that drift and fear have stolen for decades. If you waste this hour, you may still survive, but your greatness will not. And your children may never taste the fruits of the tree you were born to plant. So plant it now. Plant it in silence. Plant it in repetition. Plant it in action. Let this be the hour where everything turns. Let this be the hour you began to live as if your bloodline depended on it. For it does. Say this aloud and imprint it on your mind. My habits build the house my family will live in. I act today not for comfort, but for inheritance. What I do this hour becomes my children's future. Do not let comfort steal your legacy. Do not let fear silence your discipline. Do not let distraction take the place of your definite chief aim. Rise earlier than your excuses. Move before the world wakes. Build in silence what your family will one day thank you for. Your environment may not understand. Your friends may not notice. But your descendants will live inside your decision. And remember, repetition is the key. You do not need to be perfect. You must only be persistent. Repeat your aim. Repeat your belief. Repeat your action. That is the only rhythm that creates unshakable legacy. Each hour that you dedicate to your purpose becomes a foundation stone in the mansion of your lineage. Each habit repeated with faith becomes a sword handed to your children. Each refusal to drift becomes a wall between them and weakness. Let them say, he rose for us. Let them say, he broke the chain. Let them say, because of him, we walk free. The law is clear. Cosmic habit force will multiply whatever you plant. It does not judge. It does not delay. It does not lie. It simply gives you more of what you do most. So do not waste this hour. Turn it into a weapon. Let this moment become a monument, not because it was easy, but because you made it count. Say this again and again. My habits build the house my family will live in. I act today not for comfort, but for inheritance. What I do this hour becomes my children's future. You do not need permission to begin. You do not need applause to persist. You do not need the world to understand. You need only the courage to act, the discipline to repeat, and the fire to finish. Let this be the hour. Let this be the man. Let this be the moment that rewrites the future. The clock is watching. Your name is waiting. And your legacy is listening. Will you rise? Life does not wait for the man who hesitates. It obeys the man who moves. You were not born to analyze forever. You were born to decide, to declare, and to do. Delay is not safety. It is silent disobedience. And the longer you delay, the weaker your spirit becomes. This is a law. The universe was never designed to favor the slow. It was designed to respond to the swift. Lightning does not pause. The sun does not stall. The seasons do not consult your fears. All of creation rewards action, faithful, prompt, unwavering action, and so must you. Speed is not recklessness. It is spiritual alignment. It is the act of obeying what you already know to be right, without consulting your weakness for permission. It is a man moving the moment truth speaks. It is the habit of listening to purpose, not comfort. Success moves toward the man who makes room for it. And the man who acts immediately upon his purpose creates a vacuum so powerful that results must rush in to fill it. Indecision is clutter. It repels good fortune, but decisiveness is a cleared runway for success to land. Ask yourself now, how often have I known what I needed to do, but delayed until the door closed? How many times did hesitation rob me of my moment? If you are honest, you will find that most of your losses did not come from ignorance, but from delay. The law is simple. He who obeys quickly receives fully. He who doubts drifts, and he who drifts decays. The world is full of men with plans and dreams and visions they never moved on. But the kingdom of wealth and greatness belongs to the man who moves. A definite decision made today carries more power than a perfect plan that takes a year. Why? Because infinite intelligence flows through action, not over-analysis. Thought without execution is a betrayal of your own potential. Action activates providence. This is not theory, it is law. The man who chooses a definite chief aim and moves upon it without delay, without question, without negotiation, is met by invisible forces. Opportunities arise, doors open. The world rearranges itself to obey the decision maker. You do not need more research. You need resolve. You do not need to be more prepared. You need to be possessed by purpose. You do not need more time. You need to use the time you already have with fire, with focus, and with force. Consider the men who shaped history. Henry Ford moved when others hesitated. He was mocked for imagining a machine no one could build, but he did not wait for approval. He moved, and the world followed. Andrew Carnegie rose from poverty, not because he had a map, but because he moved with purpose. He decided to rise. He obeyed that decision daily, and that decision turned into steel, and steel into empire. Charles Schwab, young and untrained, stood before giants and made decisions they would not make. Because he moved boldly, he rose swiftly. The world rewards speed when it is built upon purpose and backed by faith. Do not ask how long it will take. Ask how quickly you will begin. The man who begins fast finishes strong. The man who waits until the wind is perfect never sails. And the man who must feel ready before he moves will die with his work unfinished. There is no miracle in delay. There is only erosion, but there is magic in momentum. The first step you take becomes the bridge to the second. And once you are in motion, doubt loses its grip. The key is speed, not of the body, but of the spirit. You must move while the fire is hot. Obey the inner signal when it strikes. The voice that says begin now is not to be argued with. It is to be obeyed. And when you obey quickly, You align with the law of acceleration. Repeat this truth. I do not delay truth. I obey it instantly. Speed is power. Purpose is fuel. I move in fire. My results multiply when my decisions are swift. Let these become the rhythm of your days, the standard of your thinking, the law of your movement. And hear me, the man who moves swiftly in purpose is not reckless. He is reverent. For nothing honors your potential more than immediate obedience to purpose. Every time you delay, you insult the power placed within you, but every time you move, you magnify it. Stop believing the lie that says you need more time. Time is not your master. It is your servant. But it will only obey you if you learn to move. The longer you pause, the more time you waste. But the man who moves swiftly redeems time. He makes up for years with days of fire. Speed is not chaos, it is clarity. It is the mind so focused on its aim that it refuses to negotiate with hesitation. It is the man so convinced of his calling that he does not need to check the weather. He simply begins. Write this down. I move immediately when purpose speaks. I obey without delay. I trust my aim. I act without pause. And therefore, time obeys me. You must become the fast decision maker, the man who says, this is my aim and I shall move upon it today. This identity alone can collapse a decade of drift into a year of transformation. Your breakthrough is not waiting in the distance. It is waiting in the speed of your decision. But you will only meet it if you rise without delay. Let this be your law. Let this be your creed. Let this be your legacy. Say it again. I do not delay truth. I obey it instantly. Speed is power. Purpose is fuel. I move in fire. My results multiply when my decisions are swift. You now understand the law of speed is a spiritual law. It is not about rushing. It is about obedience. The man who waits for perfection is already defeated, but the man who acts now builds perfection through persistence. Move now. For every second you hesitate, your future moves farther away. But every second you obey, your destiny comes closer. You are not meant to feel ready. You are meant to begin. If you wait until readiness arrives, you will be dead before you have lived. Readiness is not the cause of greatness. It is the reward for moving before fear gives you permission. The man who waits to feel strong will never lift what builds strength. The man who waits to feel wise will never speak the words that reveal wisdom. The man who waits to feel certain will die in a cage built by hesitation. You are not waiting on courage. You are postponing obedience. Understand this. Movement creates the man. You are not the man who becomes before you act. You are the man who acts and becomes through the fire of action. Begin in trembling if you must. Begin with no applause, no understanding, no guarantees, but begin. I speak now to the man standing at the edge of his definite chief aim, staring down into a canyon of uncertainty. You say, I'm not ready. And I say, the moment you begin, you will be. You say, I need to know more. I say, knowledge grows with obedience. You say, what if I fail? And I say, what if you don't begin? All great men began before the path was lit. Barnes climbed aboard a freight train with nothing but desire and declared, I will work with Edison. He had no money, no plan, no title, but he had fire, and that fire made him indispensable. The fire that moves mountains does not begin as a blaze. It begins as a spark, a decision. That decision becomes movement. That movement becomes momentum. That momentum becomes mastery. But the first step must come before the mind believes it is ready. Do not insult your destiny by asking for certainty. Certainty is not a condition. It is a consequence. You must act your way into confidence. No man is born with belief. He builds it by keeping his word to himself day after day, even when it costs him. You were not made for safety. You were made for obedience to purpose. And purpose does not reward hesitation. It rewards the man who shows up in fear, in doubt, in imperfection, but shows up anyway. Begin while the voices in your mind whisper, you're not qualified. Because those voices are not prophecy. They are remnants of past drift. They are ghosts. They have no law over you unless you obey them. Every great builder began without full permission from the world. Rockefeller started small, with steady vision. Carnegie began as a messenger boy. Edison had no one's approval but his own. None of them were ready, but all of them began. You must now say, I do not seek readiness. I command myself to act. This is the voice of a man who leads himself. And when a man begins with obedience, life begins to organize around him. Say this aloud. I begin where I stand. I do not wait. I obey the call. My courage grows through motion. I act first, and readiness follows. Let these words become your law. Let them govern your mornings. Let them be the answer when fear calls and says, you are not prepared. Your answer is, neither was anyone great, but they began. The man who moves before he is ready is the man who moves ahead. He does not compete with the confident. He surpasses them with commitment. He does not debate his inadequacies. He drowns them in obedience. And make this clear. There is no smaller hell than a man who knew what he was called to do, but waited. His soul corrodes. His fire dies. His body lives, but his power does not. You must never become that man. Begin while your hands shake. Begin while your vision blurs. Begin while your voice trembles. Because the moment you do, you prove to your subconscious that you are the authority now. And the subconscious begins to obey the new master, action. Do not consult emotion before action. Emotion will always whisper the lie of safety. Action is the teacher. Movement is the sermon. Begin and let your results instruct the world. Begin and let your sweat speak louder than your fears. Let me now speak plainly. If you do not begin today, you will begin again tomorrow in greater pain, with less belief, and with more regret. Each delay is not neutral. It is a tax on your spirit, and that tax compounds. Begin now and free yourself. Write this in your journal. I am a man of decision. I begin without permission. I do not ask the world to approve. I move as if it already has. Readiness is earned through movement, not before it. Let these truths replace the lies that have kept you still. Let them cut through the fog of hesitation. Let them break the rhythm of delay. The man you admire began before you. The man you must become begins now. Your chief aim does not require perfection. It requires possession. You must possess your purpose so completely that movement becomes your default. Do not wait for the wind to blow in your favor. Become the wind. Begin, and the storm obeys you. And now I ask, what have you delayed that should already be moving? What idea have you imprisoned in overthinking? What goal have you rehearsed so many times in your mind that it has lost its fire? Breathe new life into it, not by thinking, but by doing. This is not theory. This is eternal law. The man who begins, builds. The man who waits, watches another man win. Say it again. I begin where I stand. I obey now, not later. I move, therefore I become. This is your mantle. This is your law. This is the parting of your past from your future. And it begins not with certainty, but with command. This is not the moment to prepare. This is the moment to act. The time is not tomorrow, nor someday, nor later when you feel worthy. The time is now. The hour has arrived where you must decide if you will command your future or serve someone else's for the rest of your life. Do not wait for more signs. You've already been given more than most men ever receive. You've been stirred, called, reminded. The only thing left is obedience. The man who moves with obedience does not become powerful. He is powerful because action is the badge of the awakened. If you have heard these words and still do not act, understand. The next day, the next year, the next decade will echo the same emptiness you feel now. Life will not rescue you from indecision. Time will not pause for your internal struggle. It moves for no one, but it obeys the definite. This is the end of your waiting. This is the hour you write your name into the book of those who decided. From this moment, you are no longer a man of intention. You are a man of execution. Your rituals change. Your priorities shift. Your posture commands. Your words follow purpose. The great men of history were not men who had everything. They were men who used everything. They used the minutes others discarded. They used the strength they still had after they were tired. They used the power of daily repetition. And that is what made them remembered. You are now one of them, or you are not. There is no middle ground between greatness and drift. You are either the commander of your destiny or the victim of your delay. The man who rises daily to speak his chief aim aloud, to plan his movements, to act with precision, he rewrites his bloodline. You must now follow the system. Speak your definite chief aim aloud every morning and night. Write it in your own hand. Feel it burn. Repeat it until your subconscious accepts no other version of you but the one who finishes. Then act each day. Not massive leaps, but obedience, discipline, integrity to your aim. Read your aim. Speak it. Then take a single step. The day after, do it again. Build rhythm. Rhythm becomes power. Power becomes influence. Influence becomes legacy. Guard your hours. Each one is a brick. Every distraction is a thief. Every wasted conversation is a crack in your foundation. Say no to anything that does not serve the man you are becoming. Say yes to only what sharpens the direction you have already chosen. Let me ask you now, before we finish, have you truly heard what has been said? Do you remember the laws? Do you know them, not casually, but in your habits? What is the law of cosmic habit force? What does your subconscious mind obey? What is your definite chief aim? What is the difference between faith and drift? What causes delay? What cures it? If you cannot answer clearly, you must listen again, until this becomes second nature, until you breathe these laws, until your tongue speaks them without thought, until your habits enforce them without excuse. You are not here to be stirred. You are here to be commanded by the truth. And this truth has one requirement: begin. Begin while others delay. Begin while the world sleeps. Begin while the emotion is raw. Begin before you are forgotten. Begin before another year steals your hope. Begin before your children inherit your hesitation. Begin before your soul grows calloused by compromise. This is the hour, and there may never be another like it. If you walk away from this message unchanged, your mind will harden. Your excuses will multiply. Your identity will collapse into the same pit where millions of men lie buried, men who knew but did not do. You are not one of them. You will rise. You will obey. You will repeat until your future obeys you. You will make your family proud, not through wealth alone, but through example. You will build not only success, but sovereignty. Final affirmations. Repeat each slowly. I wake now, I rise now, I act now. The clock no longer commands me. I command myself. The time is now. The decision is mine. The future is waiting. I will not drift. I will not delay. I will not repeat the old life. I write the new story in action, not words. I finish. I persist. I am definite. And now is your final command. Stand up, move, begin the task you've avoided. Open the page, write the aim, send the letter, make the call, cancel the delay. Start now, not because it is perfect, but because it is time. Because the clock has waited long enough, and so have you.